I think relationships with cities that we're from, that's the biggest level of like things we take for granted.
Absolutely.
Because we're on the same streets every day,
Absolutely.
going through it. We don't realize how beautiful it can be, right?
Totally. I mean, it takes being out of your city for a while in order to appreciate it, and that's what I did. Like, you know, I think a year after college, I stayed in New York. Then I moved to Los Angeles to pursue music videos. 6 months. I remember I did like a cross country road trip to get out here to LA. So I got to experience a ton of different cities in the United States. Los Angeles for an extended period of time. Then when I came back to New York, it opened my eyes. It made me realize that this is like the city that I belong
right
in. Because I've experienced, you know, I've given all these other cities a fair shot. This is, you know, and they're all great cities, but New York is for me, like,
right.
That works best with who I am.
So how did this all happen? Like, you just started taking little videos on your Instagram. It just happened naturally, right?
Yeah, it was pretty gradual. Actually, right after I moved back from LA, I was like super down in the dumps because I was living back with my parents. You know, I thought that I was going to be this famous music video director, but it didn't pan out.
Right.
So I was figuring out what my next move was, and I remember I was sitting in Union Square Park, and I was kind of like reflecting on life, figuring out what I was going to do, and this guy who I'd seen growing up just as like a New York street character walked by, and I took kind of this low point in my life as an opportunity to go and talk to him. And this guy, who, if you follow me, you probably know who he is, Tedavon, the 6'7" freestyling Jew.
Mm-hmm.
He's this tall 6'7" white dude with dreadlocks who carries around this 10-pound sign that says the 6'7" Jew will freestyle rap for you.
Right.
So he's like a nomad, healing, freestyling, not crazy. He's like a, you know, very normal person, but eccentric, I guess.
Right.
But I kind of like took this low point in my life as an opportunity to just say, fuck it, I'm going to go talk to this guy for once and, you know, learn his story. So I did. We ended up walking around the city for like 2 hours. I was talking to him. And by the end of us hanging out, I was like, yo, I've never made a documentary before, but I would love to make a film about you if you were interested. And I figured he'd say no, because in my eyes, I've considered him a celebrity. And that's something that's never changed for me. Like, I've always considered these street people celebrities. Whereas, you know, any average person walking down the street would see him and think, oh, that's an interesting looking guy, but probably think they're like a bum or something like that. I've always considered them celebrities.
Right.
So,
and you were familiar with a lot of the characters that you meet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I figured he'd say no, but he said yes. And I was like, okay, shit, I better figure out how to make a documentary. So I just winged it. Fortunately, it was pretty good, and I had the idea to just keep doing these little videos with, you know, interesting street people around New York City. So after him, I did a short doc on this guy who calls himself Spider-Man, who dresses up as Spider-Man and rides people around in a rickshaw in the East Village. So I did something on him. So then I had these 2 like 5-minute documentaries, and I was basically able to kind of sell this concept for an ongoing series based on, you know, documenting New York City street characters.
Right.
And that series was called Know Your City, N-O Your City. Yeah. We did 8 episodes. It did really well. Did another 8 episodes. And then from there, I've just like, I had this brand new appreciation for the city and love for the characters. You know, because the characters in New York, there's characters everywhere, but the characters in New York are, you know, people who I identify with more and kind of appreciate more than anywhere else.
I think there was you know, with New York, especially such a grand city where people there already has this reputation of the decades, you know, with the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. It kind of, people started thinking it's gone downhill as far as the eccentricity of it, right? And then, like, I feel like, you know, so many brands have just done so much with it you know.
Totally.
And I feel like from your lens and your eyes, like it kind of gets back to like the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the main reasons why I did this series was because I felt like we were losing a lot of those characters.
Right.
Either they were, you know, getting priced out of New York, or you know, they were passing away or whatever. So I just wanted to like document these people while we still had them. And people really appreciated it. It didn't go crazy. We put them up on YouTube. It would get like a couple thousand views. Some got a little bit more, but nothing crazy. And I was producing stuff that I really liked, but it was kind of discouraging that it wasn't going viral, because I was like, these are people who should be going viral. So I decided to start filming the same characters on my phone.
Right.
So I started this Instagram page where I just would like, you know, film these characters 15 seconds, I think it was at the time, no cuts or anything, and I would just like check in with them every once in a while.
Right.
And over, you know, a year, 2 years, I just started gradually growing this fan base of people who like really wanted to check in on these New York City characters. And then, you know, a few crazy viral videos got me a lot more followers. But
it's interesting when you say that, because like it's just wild. Like we'll work on some shit that's like a crazy piece that's 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like barely gets shared compared to like a 15-second video.
I mean, it makes sense because people have really short attention spans. It's really hard to get somebody to click on a YouTube.
Is that just gonna get worse, you think?
Probably, yeah.
Is this
I mean, you know, what was Vine? 6 seconds?
Right.